Hey everyone, welcome back to the Spring Boot Mastery. In the last episode, we have created our first Spring Boot project and built a simple REST API. But how does Spring Boot know what to run, how to connect the components, how to serve a request? That's all thanks due to the annotations. So today we will discuss about most important annotations in the Spring Boot. Not only discuss about the annotation names, we will see a clear examples on them with a live demo. First, let us see what is an annotation. Annotation in Java is a form of metadata. It gives an extra information to the compiler or runtime. This Spring Boot uses annotations more frequently and heavily to define what is a controller, a service, or repository, and etc. Spring Boot annotations. We will see the label names and how to declare a annotation as well. And with the help of at the rate auto void also, we will see how it will inject the bin automatically. So some of the core annotations are at the rate Spring Boot application, at the rate REST controller, at the rate service. Generally, we denote an annotation with the symbol at the rate repository, at the rate auto void, at the rate component. We will see each one of them with an example as well. Like these are some of the key annotations we will explore today. Each plays a different role in how Spring Boot works internally. Let's first open our IntelliJ and open our recently created project. Previously, we just imported a project by adding a two dependencies. One is a Spring Boot DevTools and Spring Boot Starter Web, like for creating the REST application, and another one is for making the development easy by automatically resetting the server when any change happen in our project. And we have created a simply a controller class, and in the controller class we define a single get method. So just we will run and see this application. It's running in the port 8080. We will open our browser. Here slash is an optional. You see our application is running. So now we will do the modifications in this project and use the annotations which we discussed, like at the red Spring Boot application, Rush controller, service, repository, auto void, component, and many more. So first we will open our controller class, which we have defined inside our controller package, and we have declared the get mapping with the slash URL and one public method with the return type string, which name is hello. When this get mapping get request is hit in the browser, automatically this method will get executed and this hello Spring Boot will be returned to the caller. So here in this class itself we have used two different annotations. One is at the rate REST controller and another is the at the rate get mapping. If you see here at the REST controller, it tells the Spring this class handles the HTTP request. Tells Spring this class handles the HTTP request. It's actually like combination of at the controller and at the response body. Meaning every method returns the data directly, not a view. Generally, here view is nothing but a JSP page or HTML page or a time leaf page like that. So now we will directly get the data instead of a another page or view. And coming to at the get mapping, it maps an HTTP method get like the get request to the method called hello. Here we have at the get mapping. It just maps HTTP get request. Similarly, we can use other annotations such as at the post mapping, put mapping, delete mapping. Like these are the most frequently used CRUD methods, like CRUD operation annotations. We have another one is also patch. Also, we'll discuss all of them in the future videos in detail. As of now, first we will see how a layer is connected to another layer. Generally, talking about the relationship of the layers, we have controller layer as we have used in the previous example, and we have the service layer and the repository layer. Generally, here the controller layer handles the incoming request. Service layer handles the business logic or contains the business logic, and the repository layer is mostly used for interacting with the database, like talks to the database. So previously we have used already implemented this controller layer for handling the HTTP incoming requests. So now we will see about adding the service layer. Generally, it's a good practice to use a different package for different layers. We have defined our controller in the controller package. Similarly, we will define a new package. We'll call it as a service. So we will create a new file. It's nothing but a Java class. We'll call it as greeting service. So how we will represent this Java class is a service layer. We will use the annotation at the service. So With this annotation, the Spring will understand this class contains the business logic. So when Spring Boot starts, it automatically scans for all the classes annotation annotated with the uh, annotation at the red service and creates an object which is nothing but a bean, and it manages its life cycle. So let's define or implement one method, public string get greeting. So for this we will return hello from service layer. Just we are using a simple method names and all. Later point of In the later episodes we will discuss a full-fledged CRUD project from end to end. So now we will open, or we will, as we have the uh, how the layers will be interacting with each other. Generally controller will call the service layer. Now we have the service and controller layer, but how the controller will know to call this or inject this service class. So for that we will just open our controller class, hello controller class. Now we will use another annotation which is the auto white. We have used this service layer as well. At that service will just scans the object automatically, like creates an object which is nothing but a bean and manages the life cycle. This creation of a bean and managing the life cycle is taken care by the Spring Boot IOC. So now we will use the internet auto wide. Like what is the use of this internet auto wide is it will inject the object. You inject the object automatically. So how we use is generally we use the at the rate auto wide and the name of the class which you want to auto wide. I want to use the greeting service. So whenever we are using this at the auto wide annotation, automatically Spring will inject this bin. We don't need to manually create it using a new keyword. Like generally how we create the object like greeting service name object name equal to new greeting service. So we can eliminate that using the new keyword, because here Spring Boot will automatically do it for us through the concept of IOC, like inversion of control. We will see, we'll discuss of it in the later videos. So now we have the two layers. One is the controller layer and the service layer. The controller layer will call the service layer. So we have defined the service layer object, but how do we call this method? It's simple, like calling the method name with the help of the object name dot get greeting. So automatically this get greeting method will get invoked from the controller class. So we have the controller layer and service layer. We have integrated the controller layer with service layer, but how do we call this repository layer from the service layer? That's we will see now. This at that auto is nothing but the dependency injection, we call it as. In simple term, we can call that other automated is nothing but is dependency injection. Means we are injecting the dependencies. Means we are telling the Spring to inject the dependencies automatically without creation of the object manually. So now we will create an repository package and we'll create a repository class as well. Again, we'll create a new package repository. In the repository class, we'll create one new class known as like just we name it as user repository. So how do we annotate this repository? With the help of annotation called @repository. So with the help of this @repository annotation, this class is marked as a data access object, nothing but DAO, data access object. Spring automatically detects it and wraps the database exceptions into the Spring data access exception. Even though we are not connecting it to the database yet, this is how the persistence layer is defined. So oh, we will call this repository as well. As of now, we will just declare a sample method public string get username return. I'm just returning the name as test. The name of the user is test. So to say, uh, we will see how we will call this service layer in the sorry this controller layer repository layer in the service layer as well. From the controller we call the service and from the service we will call the repository as well. Just give us some time. In the future video we will explain about this. I think you have understood like how we have declared our controller repository and service layers and how we created each uh, denoted each class with the specific annotations. We will create our CRUD operations in the next video.